So you asked a question about, you said what damages, correct? That was the first question. You said, why would African-American people that's native born to this country receive money from the federal government for damages? That was your very first question. So I want to answer your question correctly. So with that being said, right here are 4 black children aging from the age of 11 to, I believe, 16. In 1963, there was a bombing in Birmingham, Alabama. These 4 black girls were blew up in a church bombing. I want to make sure that's clear. Now, I'm going to show you another picture of something you stated you didn't have any information on. So I want to make sure that we are clear and we don't have no delusions of anything else but the facts here. So I just want to give out the facts, nothing else. None of this is my personal opinions or thoughts. These are all just factual information that, was top secret at one point, but no longer is top secret due of the acts that they put in place. So right here is a person by the name of Gary Thomas Rowe Jr. It says the FBI, the Department of Justice, and Gary Thomas Rowe Jr. I asked you earlier, did you know who Gary Thomas Rowe Jr. was? You said you didn't know, and I totally understand that, which is why you asked me what damages were done or is being done to the African-American people in this country on the federal side. So with this being right here, this is a federal document right here. This is not nothing that I wrote. You guys can always see at the bottom of the page. You can look this information up. So this is a federal document speaking on the things that then took place with Gary Thomas Rowe Jr. and the FBI and your president, Mr. John F. Kennedy. That would be some of those Democrats and Republicans, by the way. So let's go further into this information so that everybody can see it at the same time. And like I said, these are not my personal thoughts. These are just actual facts. So when he asked me the question of why African Americans are going to receive money, this is one of the reasons why. So let's dive further into the facts. So right here, it states that the FBI paid Gary Thomas Rowe Jr. All right. So right here, we're gonna pause there at the very top. It says summary of findings. It says the FBI paid Gary Thomas Rowe Jr. Now, I understood that you say you didn't know what was going on with some of this stuff, but let's see what you do know. Who is in control of the federal branch of government, sir? Who's in control of the federal branch of government?
At that time, I believe it was still Hoover's.
The federal branch of government was controlled at that time in 1963 by no one other than himself, John F. Kennedy, the president. President runs the federal branch of government, and his name was John F. Kennedy. Can we agree to that, brother?
I'll take your word on it.
Okay. With that being said, in 1963, Gary Thomas Rowe was being paid by the federal branch of government, which would be, at that time, John F. Kennedy, which means that he was hired in 1960 to 1965, which means he was hired by, guess what? John F. Kennedy. And with that being said, John F. Kennedy hired Mr. Gary Thomas Rowe and paid Mr. Gary Thomas Rowe. Now, it says extremists were at that time bombing churches and homes, protesting the civil rights movement. Now, Mr. FU, you said that Mr. Kennedy was for the civil rights movement, correct?
He was a big advocate.
That's what you say. All right, let's make it all make sense. Now what he said, what you assume and what we know is two different things. So I don't want no one to assume. I just want to have the facts. So it states that he paid Mr. Gary Thomas Rowe, and Mr. Gary Thomas Rowe were involved with church bombings and homes protesting the civil rights movement. But we have a little bit more further information than that. So I want to go to the next photo so we all can see what's going on here. So as I go to this next photo, make sure you guys remember that this is not my opinions. These are not just my personal thoughts. These are just the facts that we have on the table. And when we have the facts are the facts. And I highly encourage everybody to look up this documentation that I have. It's available to the public. Oh, I'm sorry. I put the same one. Hold on. Let me go back. It's this information is public information. It's been declassified years ago. Once again, this was top secret information. That means that only the president and certain eyes knew about this information. Not everybody knew about this information. So with that being said, let's go further into it. Hold on. Let's further into it. Now, once again, this is directly from your FBI findings, mind you, the same people that hired him. So, as we sit back, Anthony Fucci, only one show. So as we sit back and we look at Mr. Gary Thomas Rowe and the things that he did, as we sit back and look at the things that he was paid to do, let's use the correct verbiage. The things that Gary Thomas Rowe was paid to do. The things he was paid to do. He was paid to terrorize the African American people. Wouldn't you agree to that, Mr. FU?
Under that, yep.
Okay.
Same as Ruby Ridge, right?
Okay.
Federal agents went in and shot a whole entire family. I don't deny it's disgraceful.
So here we go.
The FBI did go into Ruby Ridge and snipe the family, right?
It says Gary Thomas Rowe Jr. committed a violent crime while, and you can't really see it. And they got a couple of dates on there. It says taking violent crimes with the Klansmen, served the FBI as an informant within the Ku Klux Klan. Mind you, it said he fired a bullet which killed somebody, a civil rights worker on U.S. highway, March 25th, 1965. Following the Selma Montgomery Freedom March. So not only did he blow up the little girls in that picture, he was shooting people too. And you know what? He had amnesty. So the federal government granted him amnesty. And they showed this bombing all over the news, which would cause hysteria for melanated people, those natural-born African-American people. It would display an amount of hysteria, which would cause PTSD. If you see something so vicious as that, and you're thinking that some intimate force of some white supremacy group like the Ku Klux Klan is the ones doing it all, you think they're coming to get you, but the whole time it was your federal government that was doing it. That means they're responsible for everybody, all those African-American native-born post-traumatic stress, because there's the one that's making the narrative. It wasn't the Ku Klux Klan, it was them. So that's just you ask the question, I want to give you the answer. So because of that, just that one thing. Now we could be here all day, but I was just going to give that one. So that's why African Americans, once again, I remember the damages. So when there's damages done, you can sue somebody for that. And the person can, admit to the damages. So as me being the president, I admit to the damages that my federal branch done to the African American people, which will ensure them their $5,000 a month settlement, which is owed to somebody that has damages when I cause them. And because my branch of government caused the damages to those African American native born citizens,